In the book of Revelation, John writes about the church of Thyatira, describing severe matters. In Revelation chapter 2, it is written, "I have this against you, you tolerate that woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess. By her teaching, she misleads my servants into sexual immorality and the eating of food sacrificed to idols." Jezebel is a woman mentioned in the Old Testament. So, who exactly was Jezebel? Let's take a look at the Jezebel described in the Old Testament.
After the death of Solomon, the son of David, Israel was divided into two. Jeroboam, who was a servant of Solomon, and Rehoboam, who was Solomon's son. Each established their own kingdom. Jeroboam led 10 tribes, including Ephraim, to establish the kingdom of Israel. Rehoboam, the direct descendant of David, along with the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and additionally the Levites, established the kingdom of Judah. From the inception of these two kingdoms, conflicts persisted.
As time passed, kings were established in both Judah and Israel. In the kingdom of Judah, descendants of David succeeded to the throne generation after generation. On the other hand, various kings emerged from different tribes in the kingdom of Israel, and each of these kings, failing to follow the God of Israel, accumulated sins before God.
During the reign of Omri, the 5th king of Israel, Samaria becomes the capital.
King Omri of Israel committed more evil before the Lord than any of his predecessors. His son Ahab was even more wicked than his father Omri, and he married Jezebel, the daughter of King Ethbaal of the Sidonians. Jezebel introduced the worship of the god Baal into Israel. Ahab built a temple for Baal in Samaria and began to worship him. He also made an Asherah pole, further provoking the anger of the Lord, the God of Israel. All of this was under the influence of Jezebel. Since Jezebel's arrival, Israel quickly turned to worshiping Baal, abandoning their worship of the Lord.
Sidon was a maritime nation and a wealthy country specialized in trade. Perhaps the marriage between Ahab and Jezebel was a political marriage, aiming for mutual prosperity through an alliance between Israel and Sidon. The meaning of Jezebel's father's name, Ethbaal, is "Baal is with him," indicating a connection to Baal worship within the very name itself.
The circumstances surrounding Jezebel's killing of the prophets of the God of Israel are not recorded in the Bible. Jezebel cherished the prophets of Baal.
King Ahab and his wife Jezebel served Baal and conspired to kill the prophets of the God of Israel. They indeed killed the prophets. However, the prophet of God, Obadiah, cleverly hid the prophets by hiding them in caves. He hid 50 prophets in separate caves, provided them with water and bread, and sustained them. On the other hand, Jezebel recruited the prophets of Baal and always set the table for them. There were 450 of these prophets. When Ahab and Elijah met, Jezebel was not present. Ahab, upon seeing Elijah, said, "Is that you, you troubler of Israel?" Elijah replied, "I have not made trouble for Israel, but you and your father's family have. You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the Baals." So Elijah proposed, "Summon the prophets of Baal, 450 of them, and the prophets of the Asherah, 400, who eat at Jezebel's table." They gathered at Mount Carmel. Elijah then said, "You provide the bulls and choose one for yourselves. Cut it into pieces and put it on the wood, but do not set fire to it. I will prepare the other bull and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord. The God who answers by fire, he is God." So the prophets of Baal danced around the altar, but nothing happened. Then Elijah repaired the altar of the Lord, placed the wood on it, and arranged the bull pieces on the wood. He then had trenches dug around the altar and had them filled with water. He prayed, "O Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, O Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again." Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, he is God. The Lord is God. Elijah commanded, "Seize the prophets of Baal. Don't let anyone get away." They seized them, and Elijah had them brought down to the Kishon Valley and slaughtered there. Upon hearing that the prophets of Baal had been killed, Jezebel becomes furious. She sends a messenger to Elijah, saying, "By this time tomorrow, I will kill you, just as you killed them." Elijah flees into the wilderness. An angel of the Lord appears to him and provides him with food. Guided by God, Elijah travels to Mount Horeb. There, God instructs him to anoint Hazael as king over Aram.
Hazael of Aram attacked Israel, and Jehu killed those who escaped from Hazael. Jehu eventually assassinated Joram and became the king of Israel. Jehu is also the one who killed Jezebel.
Ahab coveted the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which was located near the palace and considered prime land. So, he called Naboth and said to him, "Give me your vineyard. I want it for a vegetable garden because it is close to my palace. In exchange, I will give you a better vineyard, or, if you prefer, I will pay you whatever it is worth." Naboth refused, saying, "The Lord forbid that I should give you the inheritance of my ancestors." Ahab was sullen and upset, and he explained the situation to his wife, Jezebel. Jezebel reassured him, "Don't worry. I will get you Naboth's vineyard." She then used Ahab's name and seal to write letters to the elders and nobles of Jezreel, instructing them to falsely accuse Naboth of cursing both God and the king, and then to stone him to death. The people of Jezreel followed Jezebel's orders, and they stoned Naboth to death. When Jezebel learned that Naboth was dead, she told Ahab, "Go, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite." Elijah confronted Ahab, saying, "You have shed blood and now you have taken possession of the vineyard. In the place where dogs licked up Naboth's blood, dogs will lick up your blood eyes, yours." He also prophesied regarding Jezebel, "Dogs will devour Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel."
For years after Ahab became king, Jehoshaphat became the king of Judah. Jehoshaphat was the first to take an effective stance between Israel and Judah, which had been in constant conflict until then. Particularly close was Jehoshaphat's relationship with Joram, with whom he went to battle against the Arameans. Jehoshaphat witnessed Ahab being shot in battle. To establish ties with Israel, Jehoshaphat married his son Joram to Ahab's daughter Athaliah.
God's plan extends to all kings, including those of Judah.
Jehoshaphat went to Samaria to meet Ahab. Ahab told him, "The land of Ramoth-Gilead has been taken by the Arameans, and we have not yet reclaimed it." When Jehoshaphat came from Judah, Ahab invited him, saying, "Won't you join me in fighting for Ramoth-Gilead?" Jehoshaphat replied, "I am as you are, and my people as your people. We will join you in the war." Jehoshaphat suggested that before going to battle, they should inquire of the word of the Lord, as was customary in Judah. The 400 prophets of Israel unanimously advised going to battle. However, Jehoshaphat requested, "Is there not a prophet of the Lord whom we can inquire of?" Ahab called for the prophet Micaiah. Micaiah prophesied, "I saw all Israel scattered on the hills like sheep without a shepherd." And the Lord said, "These people have no master. Let each one go home in peace." Ahab was angered by this and ordered Micaiah imprisoned until he returned from battle. Ahab disguised himself and went into battle, while Jehoshaphat went into battle in his royal robes. The Arameans had instructed their troops to focus their attack on the king alone. Mistakenly targeted as Ahab, Jehoshaphat searched for another chariot. During the battle, a random arrow struck Ahab, wounding him. He died in the evening from his wounds.
Athaliah is written in the Bible as the granddaughter of Omri. And it is not explicitly stated that she is the daughter of Jezebel. But considering the context, it seems certain that Athaliah is indeed the daughter of Ahab and Jezebel. Athaliah named her son, born to her and King Jehoram of Judah, after her own brother, Ahaziah. Athaliah inherited her mother's character traits, wielded power in the kingdom of Judah. killed descendants of David, and proclaimed herself queen. Athaliah, the daughter of Jezebel, is the only queen in the history of Israel and Judah.
The prophet of Israel, Elijah, was commanded by God to anoint Jehu, one of Ahab's servants, as king. This was to avenge the killing of the prophets of the Lord and the innocent bloodshed by Ahab's household. While Jehoram was still king, Jehu was anointed by Elijah to be the king, and he set out to pursue Jehoram. At that time, King Ahaziah of Judah had come to visit Jehoram. When Jehoram called out to Jehu, asking, "Is everything all right, Jehu?" Jehu replied, "How can there be peace as long as the idolatry and witchcraft of your mother Jezebel continue?" and aimed his bow at Jehoram. Jehoram turned his chariot to flee, but Jehu shot an arrow at him from behind. The arrow pierced Jehoram's heart, and he fell dead in his chariot on the spot. The news of Jehoram's death reached Jezebel quickly. When Jehu arrived in Israel, Jezebel adorned her eyes, tied up her hair, and looked down at Jehu from a window. When she spotted Jehu, she called out, "Is everything all right, you murderer of your master?" Jehu responded, "Who is on my side? Who?" 2 or 3 eunuchs were standing nearby, and when Jehu ordered, "Throw her down," they threw Jezebel down from the window, and she died.
Her flesh was ravaged by dogs, leaving only the skull and both wrists. It happened just as Elijah prophesied, in the territory of Israel, dogs will devour Jezebel's flesh. During this era, the kingdoms of Israel and Judah maintained friendly relations, but domestic affairs were deeply troubled. It began with Ahab marrying Jezebel, and continued with Jehoram, son of Jehoshaphat, arranging a political marriage with Athaliah. I will explain how wicked Athaliah was in another video. Thank you for watching until the end. If you like, please subscribe to the channel.